Hi, I'm Mitz. Let's make a flowering sauropod. Meganium. Kicking things off, I made a ball of aluminium foil that would act as Meganium's innards. I then covered this metallic ball in a layer of super Sculpey soft, which was then baked so I could start adding all of the little details. I then drilled into the body so that I had room for the wire for the neck to go. Sticking the wire in place for the neck, I then bent it into shape, wrapped it in some more aluminium foil, and then covered it in some more super Sculpey, just to make sure that it could withstand any knocks or bumps that might happen as I'm making Meganium. Moving on to the legs, they get the same treatment: aluminium foil base, super Sculpey exterior. To attach the sausage legs, I stuck them into where I was happy with them, and then used my ball stylus to blend the seams together. I then packed out the legs with more super Sculpey to fit Meganium's overall body shape. After repeating that process 3 more times, I moved on to making the tail. To make the tail, I rolled out a ball of super Sculpey, squished it down one side to make it more of a cone shape that I could attach to Meganium's rear end to give him a nice accurate tail. After smoothing out the body with some isopropyl alcohol, I moved on to the head, which ended up being a ball of clay that I cut into a Pac-Man shape, stuck it on top of the armature that I'd made before, and blended it out until I was happy with the overall shape of it. For this sculpt, I wanted Meganium's mouth to be closed, so to make this indent of where its mouth would be, I used various clay tools to slice and dice where its mouth would be, and then blend out the edges to make it a bit more seamless. After poking some breathing holes for Meganium, I moved on to scoring out the eyes using a silicone tool. Once I was happy with the shape of them, I then took an extra tool and scooped out the insides, as I knew I was going to paint the insides of these and fill up some UV resin later. After poking out where Meganium's antenna were going to go, I moved on to making the toes for Meganium. I rolled out some balls of clay, chopped them in half, and then slowly started to prod and poke until they're into more triangular shapes. I then repeated this till I had enough for each of Meganium's feet. After carefully sticking Meganium's toes in place, I baked the sculpt and then moved on to making his petals. After carefully sketching and cutting out the petals, I then had my template that I could make the rest of the petals from the clay with. Attaching the petals wasn't fun really. I used force and tools to squish them to the neck. I definitely could have used some wire here, it would have given a bit more strength and prevented the underneath from looking as ugly as it did. I then attempted to attach the antenna, which was made with some thin bits of Super Sculpey, a bulb on the end, which I then tried to super glue at the front of the face. After baking, I was fairly happy with the results of the whole body so far, minus the antenna. Just to make sure it was all really smooth, I gave it a quick sanding, so that I was ready to paint it. Moving on, as a little bit of a break from the model, I decided I wanted to make the base now, so I used the Typhlosion from the previous video as a basis to make sure they're all very similar sized. I traced around the base of the Typhlosion and then proceeded to cut out 2 very similarly sized circles that I could then stick together and start to carve out the base that I'd be happy with for Meganium to stand on. This was definitely the most annoying part of using this type of foam. It's this external paper that is stuck to it. I know that part of it's designed to come off. I have no effective way to get it off, so if you think of any way that I could do this, please let me know. Just to make sure Meganium looked a bit more suitable for the terrain I was making it, I traced around where its legs would go and indented so that it would stick in nicely. Moving on, I started to base coat the Meganium itself, but you'll notice here that there is something missing. Those antennae broke, not once, not twice, 3 times. Ignoring that misfortune, I decided to just keep on painting, and I'll deal with that problem later. Once the base coat dried, I started with the easiest part of painting, which was going to be the body itself, which ended up getting a nice pastel green. Meganium has 3 yellow shapes on the inside of only 3 of its petals, so I drew those out first, painted them yellow in the middle. The rest of the petal ended up getting a painting of pink, even underneath, don't look too closely. And then on the outskirts of each of the petals, I just dabbed with some white to give it that gradient effect that's shown in Meganium's official artwork. The eyes then got an extra coating of white, some yellow, and black for the pupils, with a nice white highlight, just to make them pop that little bit more. You'll see I took some time here to make the final successful antenna. These were made using guitar strings as an armature that were wrapped in some clay and superglued into place, ending the nightmare that is Meganium's antenna. With the eyes now fully dry, I filled them in with some UV resin just to make sure they had that nice shine to them. Once the eyes were done, the whole model was complete. All that was left was to paint and decorate the base. Starting off, I primed the base with a layer of Mod Podge grey paint mixture. The main base colour started off way too bright, and I quickly decided I needed to mute it with some more dull greys and browns to give it that more earthy texture that I was after. To finish the base off, I wanted Meganium to stand on some grass, so I put down a layer of Mod Podge and then just started to sprinkle some artificial grass over the top. After that dried, I then tapped off all of the excess. finally, after sticking Meganium into place, it's time to see how we did. That's it for me for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and let me know your thoughts down below. The only Johto starter left is for Alligator, so please like and subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you don't miss that creation when it comes out.